Hello and welcome to English Speaking Corner. This is your quiet, safe space to practice speaking English, not just listening to it. If you have been looking for a way to move from understanding English to actually speaking it with confidence, you are in the right place. Today, we are going to focus on a very specific skill. We are going to focus on the art of keeping a conversation going. I am Sarah, and I am here with Mark. Hello, Mark.
Hi, Sarah, and hello to everyone listening. I am really looking forward to this session. You know, Sarah, one of the biggest complaints I hear from students is about that awkward silence.
Hello and welcome to English Speaking Corner. This is your quiet, safe space to practice speaking English, not just listening to it. If you have been looking for a way to move from understanding English to actually speaking it with confidence, you are in the right place. Today, we are going to focus on a very specific skill. We are going to focus on the art of keeping a conversation going. I am Sarah, and I am here with Mark. Hello, Mark.
Hi, Sarah, and hello to everyone listening. I am really looking forward to this session. You know, Sarah, one of the biggest complaints I hear from students is about that awkward silence. You know the one I mean.
Oh, absolutely. It is that moment when someone asks you a question, you answer it, and then silence. The conversation just stops. It feels uncomfortable. You start to panic. You wonder if you made a mistake.
Exactly. Many of our listeners watch great conversation videos online. They understand everything being said, but when they are in a real situation, maybe on a date or at a work lunch, they freeze. They answer questions like they are in an interview, but they don't know how to keep the chat alive.
That is what we are going to fix today. We are going to teach you the specific phrases, questions, and reactions that native speakers use to kill that awkward silence. We call these conversation connectors. By the end of this calm session, you will have the tools to turn a 10-second exchange into a 5-minute conversation. Before we begin, if you want to build a daily habit of speaking English with confidence and ease, make sure to subscribe to the channel. We are here to help you find your voice, one episode at a time. So, Mark, where does the problem usually start?
I think it starts with what I call the dead-end answer. Imagine I ask you, Sarah, do you like cooking? And you just say, yes, I do.
That is a grammatically correct answer.
It is perfectly correct grammar, but it is terrible for conversation. It puts a wall up. I threw the ball to you and you just held it. Now I have to do all the work to think of another question.
I see. So the first technique we want to share is the boomerang. Just like a boomerang you throw in the park, you want the conversation to come back to the other person. You need to return the ball.
Exactly. The simplest version of this is "and you," but if you say "and you" every single time, you sound a bit like a robot. It's a bit too simple for the level of English our listeners are aiming for. We want to give you some smoother, more natural options. Let's look at the "how about" structure. This is a very gentle way to return the question. Listen to this example. Mark, ask me about my weekend. Sarah, did you have a good weekend?
Yes, it was lovely. I went for a hike. How about you? Did you do anything nice?
That was much better. You answered my question, but then you immediately used "how about you" to throw the ball back to me. And you added a specific follow-up question. Did you do anything nice? This makes me feel like you actually care about my answer. Let's practice this structure first. We are going to do a little shadowing. I will say a sentence where I answer a question and then use a boomerang phrase. I want you to listen to the rhythm, wait for the pause, and then repeat it out loud exactly as I said it. Here is the first one. Imagine someone asked if you like spicy food. Listen first. Yes, I love it. How about you? Do you like hot food? Now you try. Speak out loud. Excellent. Notice how Sarah's voice went up at the end. How about you? It sounds inviting. It sounds friendly. Let's try another variation. Sometimes "how about you" doesn't fit perfectly. Sometimes we want to ask for an opinion. We can use the phrase, "what's your take on it?" What's your take on it means what is your opinion, or what do you think? It is a great phrase for slightly more serious topics, like news, movies, or work trends. Let's practice that. Imagine we are talking about working from home. I say, I think working from home is much more productive, and then I want to know your opinion. Listen to the phrase. I find it much more productive. What's your take on it? Now you try. Repeat the phrase clearly. That is a very professional phrase. If you use "what's your take on it" in a business meeting, you will sound very fluent and confident. Another great boomerang phrase is "have you ever?" This is perfect when you are talking about experiences. If someone asks if you have been to Paris, don't just say no. Say, no, I haven't, but I would love to go. Have you ever been there? That turns a negative answer into a positive conversation. You admit you haven't done the thing, but you immediately show interest in the other person's experience. Let's practice that specific construction. Listen closely. No, I haven't yet. Have you ever been there? Your turn. Shadow the intonation. Good. This technique keeps the energy moving. You are no longer just a passive person answering questions. You are an active participant. Now, Mark, what happens when the other person is talking for a long time? Sometimes I am not answering a question. Sometimes I am just listening to a story. Do I just sit there silently?
No, please don't sit there silently. That is actually quite scary for the speaker. If I am telling you a story about my holiday and you're just staring at me with a blank face, I start to think, is she bored? Does she understand me? Does she hate me? We need active reaction phrases. We sometimes call this audio nodding. You know how you nod your head to show you are listening? You need to do that with your voice too. Exactly. These are short little phrases you insert while the other person is speaking. You don't interrupt them, you just support them. The most common one is simply, really? But we can do better than that. Let's look at a few emotion-based reactions. If the person is telling you something surprising, you can say, no way, or you're kidding. Let's practice no way. It is casual, friendly, and very common in daily life. Imagine I just told you I won the lottery. Listen to Sarah. No way! That is amazing! Now you try. Put some energy into it. Good. It is important to have the emotion in your voice. If you say no way with a flat voice, you sound sarcastic. You need to sound surprised. What if the news is bad? Imagine I tell you that my car broke down this morning. You can't say, no way, that is amazing. That would be very rude. In that case, we need a sympathy reaction. A great phrase is, oh no, that's annoying. Or deeper, I'm so sorry to hear that. But for minor inconveniences like a broken car or a lost key, a very natural phrase is, what a nightmare. What a nightmare. It doesn't mean you are actually having a bad dream. It just means that situation sounds very frustrating. Let's practice it. Listen first. Oh no, what a nightmare. Now you repeat it. Try to sound sympathetic. Perfect. These little phrases act like glue. They hold the conversation together. They tell the speaker, I am with you. I understand your feelings. There is another category of reaction phrases that makes you sound very intelligent. These are the understanding phrases. Sometimes people are explaining a complex idea or an opinion. You want to show that you are following their logic. A great phrase for this is, I see what you mean. It is simple, clear, and effective. Another one is, that makes sense. This is very good for work situations. If your boss explains a new strategy, you don't just want to nod. You want to say, right, that makes sense. Let's practice I see what you mean. Imagine I am explaining why I prefer tea over coffee. I give you a long explanation. You want to acknowledge it. Listen. Right, I see what you mean. Now you try. Excellent. So we have the boomerang to return questions, and we have reaction phrases to support the speaker. But Sarah, there is one more big pain point our listeners have. I think I know which one you mean. It is when a topic dies. You have finished talking about the weather, you have finished talking about the weekend, now there is silence. How do you start a new topic without it feeling random or awkward? We call this the bridge strategy. You need a verbal bridge to walk from one topic to another. You can't just jump. If we are talking about pizza and I suddenly say, I like cats, people will look at me strangely. We need a connector. The classic one is, speaking of. You use this when there is a small connection between the old topic and the new one. For example, if we are talking about pizza, which is food, and you want to talk about a new restaurant, you can say, speaking of food, have you tried that new Italian place downtown? That bridge makes the transition smooth. It alerts the listener that we are changing direction, but it feels logical. Let's practice that exact phrase. It is very useful. Listen to the rhythm. Speaking of food, have you tried that new place? Your turn. Shadow the phrase, speaking of, clearly. Very good. But Mark, what if there is no connection? What if we are talking about work and I suddenly remember I wanted to ask you about your holiday plans? Work and holiday are opposites. Speaking of work doesn't make sense there. In that case, we use the recall bridge. You say, "That reminds me," or simpler, "By the way," or "Before I forget." Before I forget is a lovely phrase. It implies that the new topic is important to you and you didn't want to miss the chance to talk about it. It makes the other person feel valued. Let's try a scenario. We are finishing a conversation about a meeting. You want to ask about my dog. You can say, "Oh, before I forget, how is your dog doing?" Let's listen to that transition. "Oh, before I forget, how is your dog doing?" Now you try. Use "oh, before I forget" to change the topic. Great. That phrase allows you to jump to almost any topic you want. It gives you permission to change the subject completely. We have covered 3 major tools today: the boomerang to ask questions back, the reaction phrases to show you are listening, and the bridge to change topics. Now we are going to do something special. We are going to put it all together in a simulation. This is the safe space simulation. We are going to act out a conversation. I will play the role of your friend. I will say something to you. Then there will be a pause. I want you to reply using one of the techniques we just learned. Sarah will guide you on which one to use.
Hey, it is so good to see you. How have you been? I have been good, thanks. How about you? Did you say something like, I have been good, thanks. How about you? If you did, perfect. You kept the ball moving. Now Mark answers. I have been pretty good. Actually, I've been really busy. I just started learning how to play the guitar. Now, Mark just shared some news. He started playing guitar. Do not just stand there. Use a reaction phrase. Show surprise or interest. Try saying, "No way," or "Really?" "No way, really?" Good, you are showing interest. Now ask a follow-up question. Ask him if it is difficult. Is it hard? It is incredibly hard, actually. My fingers hurt so much. Now, Mark is complaining about pain. Use a sympathy reaction. Try, "Oh no," or "That sounds painful." "Oh no, that sounds painful." Excellent. Now let's practice a bridge. You want to change the topic to music concerts. Maybe you saw a band recently. Use "speaking of" to bridge from guitar to concerts. Try saying, "Speaking of music, I went to a great concert last week." "Speaking of music, I went to a great concert last week." "Oh really? Who did you see?" "I saw a local jazz band. They were fantastic." "Wow, I love jazz. That sounds like a great night." Now let's try the recall bridge. You suddenly remember you wanted to ask Mark about his sister. Use "before I forget." Try saying, "By the way, before I forget, how is your sister?" "By the way, before I forget, how is your sister?" "She is doing great, thanks for asking. She actually just moved to London." You see, you just navigated a full conversation. You moved from greetings to hobbies, showed sympathy, bridged to music, and bridged again to family. You did all of that without any awkward silences. This is the power of active speaking. You are not just a passenger in the conversation. You are the driver. You are steering it where you want it to go. It is important to remember that you don't need complex vocabulary to do this. How about you? Really? Speaking of, these are simple phrases. They are A2 or B1 level phrases, but the way you use them makes you sound like a fluent, confident speaker. Mark, what is the biggest mistake students make when they try to use these techniques? I think the biggest mistake is overthinking. They try to find the perfect grammar or the most impressive word, and while they're thinking, the silence grows. The silence gets longer and longer. My advice is keep it simple. It is better to say, "Really? That's cool," instantly, than to say a perfectly complex sentence 5 seconds too late. Speed and flow are more important than perfection in casual conversation. That is such great advice. Connection over perfection. That is our motto here. I want to give our listeners a small challenge for the next time they speak English, or even if they're just texting. Yes, let's do a challenge. For the next 24 hours, try to use the boomerang technique at least once. If someone asks you, "How are you?" do not just say "fine." Say, "I am doing well, thanks. How is your day going?" Or if someone asks, "Do you have plans for the weekend?" answer, and then immediately throw the ball back. "How about you? Are you doing anything fun?" It is a small change, but it changes the entire feeling of the interaction. You become someone people want to talk to because you make them feel interesting. And if you don't have anyone to speak English with right now, you can practice with yourself. Stand in front of a mirror, ask yourself a question, answer it, and then practice the bridge. "I am hungry. Speaking of food, I should cook dinner." It sounds silly, but it trains your brain to make those connections automatically. We hope this session has given you a sense of calm and control. Conversation doesn't have to be a test. It's just 2 people trying to connect.
And now you have the tools to keep that connection strong. If you found this helpful, think about subscribing to English Speaking Corner. We create these lessons to be your daily companion in fluency. The more you listen and shadow, the more natural these phrases will feel. Thank you so much for practicing with us today. You did a great job. Speaking out loud takes courage, and you took that step today. We will be back soon with another calm practice session. Until then, keep listening, keep shadowing, and keep the chat going. Goodbye for now. See you next time. Let's do a quick review before we go, just to lock it in your memory. I will say the name of the technique, and I want you to say one phrase associated with it out loud. Ready? Technique 1, the boomerang. Did you say, how about you, or and you? Good. Technique 2, the reaction. Did you say, really, or no way, or that's amazing? Excellent. Technique 3, the bridge. Did you say, speaking of, or by the way? Perfect. You've got this. Your English is improving every day. Trust the process and trust yourself.
One final tip before we truly finish. When you use these phrases, try to smile. You can hear a smile in someone's voice. When you say, how about you, with a smile, it sounds warm. When you say it with a flat face, it sounds like an interrogation. So relax your face, take a deep breath, and let your personality shine through your English. We know it can be tiring to learn a language. It feels like a mountain you have to climb. But you don't have to climb the whole mountain in one day. You just have to take one step. This video was one step, and you finished it. That is a victory. So be proud of yourself. We certainly are. If you want to practice more, you can re-watch this video and try to speak at the exact same time as us, not just after us. That is called simultaneous shadowing, and it is a great challenge for your speed. But for now, take a rest. You have earned it. Have a wonderful day, evening, or night, wherever you are in the world. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye. Let's do one more focus drill on the soft disagreement, because this is part of keeping a chat going without fighting. Sometimes you want to keep talking, but you don't agree. That is a great point, Mark. We have a little extra time, so let's add this bonus tip. If I say, I think football is the best sport, and you hate football, don't say, no, you are wrong. That kills the chat. Instead, use the softener. Say, I see why you like it, but it's not really for me. It's not really for me. That is a beautiful phrase. It is polite, it respects my opinion, but it states yours. Let's shadow that quickly. I see why you like it, but it's not really for me. Your turn. Or you can use, I'm not a huge fan of it, to be honest. I'm not a huge fan. It is much softer than I hate it. Listen, I'm not a huge fan of it, to be honest. Your turn. Using these soft phrases keeps the door open. It invites me to ask, oh, why not? What do you prefer? And boom, the conversation continues. If you just say, I hate it, the door slams shut. So add those to your toolkit as well. Softeners are the safety airbags of conversation. They protect you when things get bumpy. Okay, that really is everything for today. We just wanted to make sure you had that extra little bit of polish. Remember, every time you speak, you are building a bridge to another person. Keep building. See you in the next episode. Bye.